Pyongyang looks determined to implement the recent inter-Korean agreement with Seoul as leader Kim Jong-un prepares Workers' Party Day events. President Park Geun-hye's visit to China raised the country's favorable views of Korea to new highs. Good news for Korea's struggling tourism sector. And a new aerial lift will be introduced at Mount Nam Park, offering tourists a panoramic view of Seoul from the mountain summit. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Wednesday, September 2nd. I'm Luke Clary. The last regular session for the 19th National Assembly began on Tuesday, and for the next 100 days, lawmakers will handle various issues. The ruling and main opposition sides remain at odds on key pending issues, such as the passing of an overdue account settlement plan and election system reform.
Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle got together hand in hand for a photo opportunity, marking the 40th anniversary of the completion of the National Assembly building. They shouted a slogan and shook hands in front of the camera, but soon got into a showdown once they were inside to kick off the last regular session of the 19th National Assembly. Last year's overdue account settlement plan and approval of Supreme Court Justice nominee Lee Ki-taek failed to pass the general meeting. That's because the ruling and opposition parties kept arguing over the ways to toughen the review standards for special activity expenses.
우리 여당에서는 이 특수활동비를 최대한 투명화하자는 국민의 목소리에 응답하는 것이 도리라고 생각을 합니다.
The Special Committee on Political Reform ended up only extending its operation until November, while failing to hold any concrete discussions on the new regulations for next year's general election. Bitter clashes are expected ahead as the ruling party focuses on labor reform, economic recovery, and the opposition party on conglomerate reform and fair taxation.
North Korea appears to be determined to implement the recent agreement with South Korea at high-level government talks. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is personally handling Workers' Party Day celebrations, while North Korean media has emphasized the importance of enacting the agreement.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un recently visited a newly built corn processing factory in Pyongyang. He called for improvements to the North's ties with the South in order to reap the benefits of the recent inter-Korean high-level government talks, and has personally begun attending to celebrations marking the founding of the North's Workers' Party.
일꾼들이 당 중앙의 의도에 맞게 10월의 대축전장에 떳떳이 들어서기 위해 일을 잘하고 있다고 평가하셨습니다.
Following the high-level government talks between the two Koreas, Pyongyang has been preparing in full gear to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the Workers' Party on October 10th. Construction of 2 reactors at the Mount Baekdu Youth Power Station is proceeding at full pace to meet the deadline, as is too the construction of Pyongyang Science and Technology Hall, which will be dedicated to future scientists. For several days in a row, North Korean media outlets have been stressing the importance of the implementation of the recent inter-Korean agreement. However, observers in the South say that, if anything, the possibility of the North launching yet another provocation in October has grown since the inter-Korean talks, and that inter-Korean relations could change again next month, depending on Pyongyang's military actions, such as the firing of long-range missiles.
Korean exports for the month of August fell below $40 billion, posting the largest decline in 6 years since the global financial meltdown. The government hopes to find ways to power up the nation's growth engine soon.
Last month's export volume fell nearly 15% year-on-year to $39.3 billion. Such a dramatic fall in Korean exports can be blamed largely on the stalled recovery of the global economy. The volume of world trade in the first half of 2015 shrank nearly 12% compared to last year, recording the biggest decrease since the global financial crisis in 2008. Moreover, China, a country that accounts for a quarter of Korea's exports, was overtaken by the U.S. as the world leader in trade volume, and it has become clear that the Chinese economy is slowing down. China's growth projection for 2015 has declined to the 6% range for the first time in 25 years. A continued decline in China's growth rate into 2016 could result in Korea's exports falling further and Korea's growth rate cut by up to 1 percentage point. Signature export items such as semiconductors are the solution to stave off the decline in exports and shore up the local economy. The government has lowered the individual excise tax and put in place several measures to revive domestic demand, making it so that Korea's future growth depends on the recovery of local consumption.
Experts say that the Korean economy can pull through from the protracted recession and sluggish exports on the strength of small and mid-sized firms. Here's more.
The Korean economy's growth rate has remained at below 1% for 8 consecutive quarters since the second quarter of 2011.
한국의 위기감을 더욱 깊이 있게 유념하고 새로운 경제 구조적 변화만이 대한민국의 선도적 경제 대국으로
With business activities by major conglomerates weakened in recent years, attention is being drawn to small and mid-sized firms for their technological innovations and new fields of business. Such businesses report annual sales revenues of approximately $8.5 million or higher thanks to their exclusive technologies and R&D capacity. Academic circles estimate their number at around 26,000. However, despite their technological prowess, they lack the marketing skills to establish a presence overseas. The government has been considering ways to help such promising small and mid-sized firms expand to the global market in cooperation with universities. So far, 17 universities and more than 4,000 SMEs in various regions have begun discussions for their partnerships. If successful, this new form of collaboration between the industrial and academic circles could help expand the horizons of the Korean economy.
President Park Geun-hye's visit to China has boosted favorable views of Koreans among the Chinese to new highs. The Korean tourism sector, hit hard by the recent MERS outbreak, could see a resurgence on the back of China's friendlier perceptions of the country.
Chinese travel agencies have gathered at one place. Delegations from Korea's municipal governments are busy publicizing their regions. 8 local government bodies, including those from Gyeonggi Province and the cities of Incheon and Busan, have joined forces to attract Chinese tourists. The Chinese travel agencies are also full of expectations, as seen in their expanded tour packages to Korea.
包括医疗保健、医疗的旅游，包括蜜月的旅游，我们争取可以开发一些更多不一样的产品，推荐给中国的游客。
About 400,000 Chinese visited Korea last month. The number hasn't recovered since the MERS outbreak, when Japanese tourists began outnumbering Chinese travelers. The Korean tourism industry plans to target Chinese tourists looking to travel over China's Mid-Autumn Festival and National Day holiday week, starting later this month.
A butane gas explosion shook up a middle school in Seoul's Yangcheon district on Tuesday. The teenager suspected of causing the explosion even posted a video of the incident to the internet. He was apprehended 8 hours after the incident.
A student flicks on a lighter in an empty classroom and lights a bundle of paper. He did so to ignite the explosion of a small butane gas canister. He then taped the ensuing chaos at the school caused by the explosion.
엄청난 폭발음입니다. 그와 함께 유리창이 산산조각나는 소리가 엄청나게 크게 학교 바깥까지 들렸고.
The 15-year-old suspect, surnamed Yi, taped the video at a middle school in Yangcheon District, Seoul, at around 2 p.m. Tuesday. The force of the explosion damaged classroom doors and made a wall collapse partially. No human casualties were reported as students from the classroom where the explosion occurred were attending PE class outdoors at the time. The suspect was apprehended 8 hours after the incident. He turned out to be a former student of the school who had been transferred to another one. Police believe the boy committed the crime because of his troubled relations with his new classmates.
Mount Nam Park offers panoramic views of Seoul. It's a popular tourist destination visited by tens of thousands of tourists each day. And a new type of aerial lift will be introduced to better accommodate those who want to reach the mountain summit. Let's take a look.
Tourists form a line to take a cable car bound for the top of Mount Nam in Seoul.
아이들이 힘들어할 것 같아서 케이블카 타고 가니까 금세 올라와서 좋은 것 같아요.
However, cable cars can only accommodate as many as 6,000 people a day. An average of more than 15,000 tourists visit the park by bus each day. Lines of cars take up the limited space and cause pollution. To address the worsening air pollution, the Seoul Metropolitan Government has decided to allow only electric cars to enter Mount Nam Park starting in 2018. It will operate gondola lifts to the top of the mountain as an alternative to tourist buses. The gondolas will run an 888-meter route from the Yejang Jarak parking area near Myeongdong to the top of Mount Nam.
온실가스라든지 배기가스에 상당한 저감 효과가 있고 보행 환경도 상당히 좋아지면서
Another major reason for introducing gondola lifts is to enhance accessibility for senior citizens. 20 gondolas will operate at Mount Nam from 2018, transporting 1,200 people an hour.
Singer Im Jae-bum will release a new album to mark the 30th anniversary of his debut. Meanwhile, singer and actor Im Chang-jung will release a mini-album and return to the music world. This and more coming up in today's entertainment news.
Singer Im Jae-bum will release a commemorative album looking back on his 30-year-long musical career. He is currently in the process of recording the album and is ponderously considering when and how to release it, as it has such special meaning on the 30th anniversary of his debut. Singer and actor Im Chang-jung will release a new mini-album on September 15th. The title track will be a sorrowful ballad entitled Love Again. After a 2-year hiatus, Im recently returned to movie screens with Untouchable Lawman, which is now playing at theaters. He was able to prepare the album by making time despite his hectic film schedule. Actress Hwang Jung-eum, known for her image as a stylish city girl, attempts an unprecedented makeover in the new movie My Sister, the Pig Lady. Hwang transforms into an innocent but tough country girl as the lead actress in the romantic film, about 3 women's efforts to win the sole unmarried man in a fishing village.
Peeling ingredients is an essential part of making food look and taste good. Some consumers prefer to buy pre-peeled garlic and onions because it's too much hassle to peel them yourself, and that's fine. But today we have some tips on how to peel tricky foods from the comfort of your own home. Peeling is probably the most time-consuming part of cooking. Peeling ginger can be a hassle because of its tricky shape. To make your job easier, put the ginger in the freezer for about 1 day.
생강을 하루 정도 얼리게 되면은 생강 속에 있는 수분이 팽창이 돼서 껍질이 헐거워지게 됩니다.
Take the ginger out of the freezer, soak it in water, and rub it with your hands. The peel will come off easily. To shell eggs more easily, cook them with some vinegar. This helps to remove calcium carbonate from the eggshell, which will make the shell thinner and easier to remove. However, this may not work for quail eggs, which are much smaller. To make quail eggs easy to shell, fill an airtight container half full with cold water, put in the eggs and shake. The broken shell will peel off easily just by rubbing the eggs with your fingers. Peeling off squid skin can be a nightmare even for seasoned homemakers. Use a kitchen towel to hold the squid firmly and prevent it from slipping out of your hands. By grasping the narrow part of the squid with a kitchen towel, you can peel off the skin in one go. And here's how to scale a fish. If you do it with a knife, the scales will fly all over the kitchen, leaving a mess.
무 하나만 있으면 생선 비닐 깔끔하게 벗길 수 있습니다.
First, cut off a piece of radish in a pointy shape. Then, push the fish scales with the sharp side of the radish from the fish's tail toward the head. Some people give up on eating shrimp because they're hard to peel. Here's how to do it easily. First, peel off the third knuckle of the shrimp, then grasp its head and tail and pull them apart. As easy as it gets. With these tips, you can trim and peel your ingredients easily and enjoy your favorite foods. Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for being with us. Tomorrow we observe the Broadcasting Day holiday, so we'll see you again on Friday. Goodbye.